Sup goats, it's Joe, and welcome back to a new video. This is Best Dubstep of April 2021. So for the people who don't know how this works, first I'm going to be listing my 10 favorite dubstep tracks of the month, last month. After that, I will be hitting out with some honorable mentions, as well as non-dubstep EDM recommends. And finally, I will be naming my favorite remix of said month. So without further ado, let's get into these lists. Just the repetition. That's all I need to say, actually. Variation is so subtle with this tune. Switch is evil as hell. We get an executioner sustain, like for real. Tonal hollow bits get added over the synths in the first part of the second drop. Not much different about the rest in comparison to the first drop, you know. As for the tone of the sound design, staple executioner we get. Guttural, visceral, grimy, squelchiness. Yeah, it's everything you hope for in an executioner tune. Ugh, come on now. There it is. The pacing of the synthwave section already gets you in the mood for this tune. I mean, the vocals too. Drop is what you would expect from Beast Boy. Glossy, neat, purposeful. The way the vocals get chopped is amazing. Yeah, gets a bit more minimal towards the end of the first drop. Not sure about the start-stop delivery that comes in, but to be fair, it isn't overdone. It's just a couple of bars that are like that, so I can push it aside. Saw the little fake out in the second drop as well. Other than that, more or less the same thing. Just really sweet musicality we get from him. See how small it gets? This fake out right here. This tune is a whole mood. I already like the fluid, wub-like sound below and the sprite-like leads just bouncing off of it so effortlessly. Like Cubic said in our formal review of this tune, the way the lead trails off sometimes, just that added little spice, like it's losing its sense of purpose and direction. Especially love how it dips down an octave in the second part of the first drop. There's something about that just moves me. Everything's a little brighter in the second drop, more jumpy, more sporadic, and I really appreciate the expanded, reflective outro to this track. It's more like one drop really, if you think about it, just a drop and a switch with a build up in between. And yeah, love the way he leaves room for a grand little drawing out of the whole song, I guess. This part right here. Alright, so I already said this in my formal review of this song, but y'all have heard of that TV show Goosebumps, right? It has a book series of it too. The melodicity in the intro reminds me so much of that. I don't know why. As for the drops, they're wet. Really wet. Pause. Even for calcium standards. Getting sudden death terrible vibes from the drop, especially with those sustains. And you can really hear the lasery layering in the second drop. It's a bit too short for me, but the variation's good. Just a conceited feel to this entire tune, especially because of the vocal sample. My lifestyle's exquisite. beautiful blend of tear out, death step, minatory here. Rough, raw, pretty choppy at first, but then the delivery becomes more drawn out, and you sort of start to realize where all the heaviness lies. The background elements with this tune are so interesting. They get modulated so weirdly. Tune sounds like it's in a dungeon of sorts thanks to the background sounds and interesting reverb choice. And yeah, the horrifying tonalities, just the icing on the cake. One of my favorite death step songs in a hot minute. That machine gun that comes in. Possibly the deepest, darkest, and nastiest DREER has gone so far. Swamped out texture, just an overall disgusting feel to this track. Although the second drop surprisingly isn't as nasty as I hoped for. It's more in your face and boisterous, but still very fat. Also love the ominous intro and midsection with that hypnotizing vocal. Yeah, if you're into ATLians, deep midnight tea, DREER is a great recommend. That fill right there, midnight tea vibes, huge. This part, just a transitioning moment. The bounce to this tune, the impatience of the melodicity, I feel like is unparalleled. The way it twists and turns through the mix. The melodic overtone to the synths is so small actually, but shines straight through all the heaviness. I think it's a mixing thing, great mixing. Also have to mention the glitchiness in both the fake out and in the drops even, fuzzy and frothing. Love the neural influence woven and ties the whole tune together, I feel like. Yeah, it's just Vayre future rhythm, as if the rest of the EP that it was on wasn't good enough. That build up. More color bassy part here. Finally, the highly anticipated YOOKiE ID has dropped. Execution isn't 100% standout, but the idea alone, let's appreciate that. Title says it all. Bubbly bass, nice texture, ASMR vocals all throughout the intro and midsection, they fit pretty well. And I love how dissonant and minimal the bubbles get in the second drop. So let's not forgive, but let's forget the Fission EP from last year. Just move that to the side and appreciate what we have here.
Bubble bass.
Little triplet delivery.
Bubblegum.
Gorgeous piano intro to the tune and that vocal on top. First drop is very, very solid. Glitchy, a bit beepy bloopy even, but so pronounced and direct. Much better beepy bloopiness on show than the bulk of beepy bloopiness I've been hearing as of late. Fills kind of sound malfunctioning too. I like that mechanical aspect to the drop. But this second drop, I mean, during the live reaction, I didn't even pick up on that mesmerizing vocal. But that's just the start. What the melodic notation does is, it's different. Amazing progression. Like I said in the review, reminds me of Ulasal's Feel It All remix. Main idea doing its thing while some underlying notation plays out. closer to the front of the mix. That combination, it moves me. That subnotation. But here we go. Nice saturated bass lines propelling the heaviness of this tune. Melodicity is also nice and bright with a sinister undertone. Especially love the melodicity in the midsection. But most stand out to me are those growls, I'm assuming they are. Rearing, textured, rhythm stabby fucking madness. Like with every tune UBUR drops, his growls get better and better and better and better. Yeah, I feel like since UBUR dropped Downfall, with the exception of the Whipped Cream remix, I've loved every single release he's put out. Whipped Cream remix is cool, I just like it. The rest I love. The sounds in the back. Right here. The way the sounds get beepy bloopier, I love that. And yeah, those were my 10 dubstep songs of last month I decided to pick out. Now let's get into the honorable mentions. Okay, so first off we have Volin with Elbow Drop. Sudden Death, SLB 2021. Nimda, Scalped. Ipsium, Bramble Gardens. Nair, Breaking Point. Digitist, Persistence Dub. Trinergy, Romantic Story. Tramp and Space Laces. Shank. And last but not least, Ominous with Grain Tune. Alright, so my non-dubstep EDM recommends are Secula with Saturday. Some nice tonal drum and bass on display for y'all. Porter Robinson, Wind Tempos. I obviously had to pick one tune off of that stellar album. First time really getting into his music. Voice All, Norfair. Crazy shit going on there. And last but not least, Sizzy with Caught Up in Circles, 4/25/2021. A Porter Robinson inspired tune, his words. And my remix of the month has to go to Big Boy Rin with his remix of Noir's Kira. Absolutely insane. So yeah, that was my video. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to join my Discord server if you'd like to and you haven't yet. Link is at the top of the description. And yeah, this has been your boy JOAT. I will see y'all with the next video.